Even though the end of 2025 was seriously cold up at Fort Drum, New York, the flight line is where the real action is. For years, everyone, from defense pros to aviation buffs and military planners, has been talking non-stop about the next big thing. We were all promised these crazy futuristic stealth scout choppers, machines that were supposed to be blindingly fast and look totally unique. But when they finally rolled out the actual new shape of American air power for the mid-21st century, the design was honestly a little too familiar. Definitely not the radical, jaw-dropping look everyone was hoping for.
It flies like a helicopter, cruises like a plane, and could redefine how the US Army fights wars within the next decade.
It doesn't look like a spaceship. It looks like a predator that has spent 40 years evolving into its final, most lethal form. This is the AH-64E version 6 Apache, and while the airframe might echo the past, the ghost in the machine is entirely new. This is not just another update, it is a reinvention of the attack helicopter concept. As of late 2025, this machine is making history not by being a clean sheet design, but by becoming the central node of a digital battlefield that has killed off its competitors and reshaped the US Army's doctrine. But the Apache isn't alone. Looming in the background of this historic rollout is the shadow of a tilt-rotor giant, the Bell MV-75, a machine that has effectively shattered the speed limits of vertical lift. Together, these two aircraft tell a story of a military that looked at the hard lessons of modern warfare, from the drone-saturated trenches of Eastern Europe to the vast, waterlocked expanses of the Pacific, and decided that the future wasn't about looking cool. It was about seeing everything, connecting to everyone, and striking faster than the enemy can blink. To understand why the V6 is making history, you have to sit in the cockpit. In previous decades, an Apache pilot was a hunter, scanning the tree line with thermal optics, looking for the heat signature of a tank engine. In 2025, the pilot of a V6 is a network administrator with a 30mm cannon. The 10th Mountain Division, enduring the freezing gusts of upstate New York, is among the first to fully integrate this new beast. On the surface, the Guardian upgrade, as the V6 is often colloquially referenced by its crews, looks tough. The rotor blades are different, made of advanced composites that slice through the air with a distinct lower-pitched thrum. These blades, combined with an uprated powertrain and more powerful engines, allow the Apache to climb faster, hover higher with a full payload, and maneuver with an agility that belies its 10-ton weight. But the real revolution is invisible. It's in the nose and the mast. The Longbow Fire Control Radar, FCR, that famous drum sitting atop the rotor mast, has been completely overhauled. For decades, it was designed to find Soviet tanks in the Fulda Gap. Now, in the V6, it has been given maritime mode. This might sound like a minor software patch, but it is a strategic game changer. It means this Army helicopter can now hunt at sea. It can track destroyers, corvettes, and landing craft over the horizon, filtering out the clutter of waves to lock on to enemy vessels from miles away. The Apache has gone amphibious. The cockpit displays are no longer just showing what the helicopter sees, they are showing what everything sees. During exercises conducted in late 2025, the V6 demonstrated the ability to seamlessly integrate with a system known as Sergeant Stout, a comprehensive data sharing network named after an Army hero. Through this digital backbone, the Apache pilot isn't just looking through their own sensors, they are looking through the eyes of a satellite, a high-altitude drone, or an infantryman's goggles miles away. This brings us to the most sci-fi aspect of the V6 that is now a reality: launched effects. In the past, if a pilot suspected an enemy air defense system was hiding in a valley, they had to peek over the ridge and risk taking a missile to the face. The V6 changes the equation. The pilot presses a button and a tube on the wing launches a small drone, a launched effect. This drone speeds ahead, controlled by the Apache's onboard AI. It flies into the valley, baits the enemy radar into turning on, and beams the target location back to the helicopter.
The Apache, still safely hidden behind the mountain, receives the data. The pilot doesn't even have to line up the shot. They authorize the strike, and a missile arcs over the mountain, guided by the drone, obliterating the target. The Apache V6 is no longer just a helicopter. It is an aircraft carrier for drones. It is a mothership. This capability, fully realized and fielded in 2025, is why the Army feels confident that this old airframe is the deadliest thing in the sky.
The arrival of the Apache V6 is bittersweet for some in the aviation community because it stands on the grave of a dream. Just a year prior, in 2024, the aviation world was stunned by a cancellation that shook the defense industry to its core. For nearly a decade, the Army had been pursuing the Future Attack Reconnaissance Aircraft FARA program. Two futuristic prototypes, the sleek, shark-like Bell 360 Invictus and the exotic coaxial rotor Sikorsky Raider X, were dueling to become the Army's new scout helicopter. They were fast, they were agile, and they were expensive. But then, the world changed. The war in Ukraine demonstrated a brutal truth. In a modern battle space saturated with cheap, lethal anti-aircraft missiles and radar-guided guns, a manned scout helicopter is a very expensive coffin. Sending a human pilot to peek over a hill to find targets was no longer brave, it was tactically obsolete. The Army leadership took a hard look at the FARA program. They looked at the Bell 360 and the Raider X, technological marvels that they were, and realized that for the price of one of those helicopters, they could buy hundreds of advanced drones. So, in a move that will be studied in war colleges for decades, they pulled the plug. In early 2024, FARA was dead. The prototypes, which had consumed billions of dollars and millions of engineering hours, were grounded. The Sikorsky SB-10 Defiant, the faster, larger cousin of the Raider X, was unceremoniously retired. By late 2024, it had been towed into the Army Aviation Museum, a museum piece before it ever saw combat. This cancellation paved the way for the Apache V6. The Army decided that instead of a new, vulnerable scout helicopter, they would use launched effects launched from the tough, survivable Apache. The money saved from killing FARA was poured into the Apache V6 and the drone ecosystem. It was a gamble on technology over tradition. And as the V6 fleet spins up in 2025, it appears to be a gamble that is paying off.
While the Apache holds the line as the premier attack platform, the skies of 2025 are witnessing the birth of something truly unprecedented in the realm of assault. If the Apache V6 is the evolution of a predator, the Bell MV-75 is the evolution of the species. Known during its development as the V-280 Valor, the aircraft officially received its military designation, MV-75, in 2025, cementing its place in the history books. It is the winner of the Future Long-Range Assault Aircraft (FLRAA) program, tasked with the monumental job of replacing the legendary UH-60 Black Hawk. But to call the MV-75 a replacement is an insult to physics. Standing on the flight line next to a Black Hawk, the MV-75 looks like a creature from a different epoch. It is a tilt rotor, similar in concept to the V-22 Osprey used by the Marines, but refined, sleek, and lethal. Its massive rotors, mounted on the ends of its wings, can pivot. They pull the aircraft vertically off the ground like a helicopter, then rotate forward to turn the machine into a turboprop airplane. The performance stats are mind-bending. A Black Hawk cruises at around 150 miles per hour. The MV-75 cruises at over 320 miles per hour. Imagine the strategic implication. In the vast distances of the Pacific, where island chains are separated by hundreds of miles of open ocean, a Black Hawk is limited. It needs refueling stops. It is slow. It leaves troops vulnerable in the air for hours. The MV-75 cuts that travel time in half. It turns a 4-hour mission into a 2-hour sprint. It allows U.S. forces to launch assaults from islands that are effectively out of range of enemy return fire, zoom in at airplane speeds, convert to helicopter mode, drop off the troops, and vanish before the enemy can react. The Army's fiscal year 2025 budget underscored the critical nature of this program, injecting a massive $1.26 billion to fast-track its development. By late 2025, the first digital prototypes, fully functional aircraft running the final software builds, were delivered for testing. The 101st Airborne Division, the famed Screaming Eagles, has been designated as the first unit to receive these machines in the early 2030s. But the training and doctrinal shifts are happening now, in 2025. Pilots are training in simulators that force them to unlearn the habits of a lifetime. They aren't flying helicopters anymore. They are flying high-speed tactical transports that can land on a dime. While the MV-75 is primarily an assault aircraft, do not mistake it for a harmless bus. It is designed for multi-mission roles. In 2025, discussions are already advanced about armed variants, gunship lights, that can use their incredible speed to perform maritime interdiction or strafing runs, utilizing the same launched effects connectivity as the Apache. The MV-75 represents the reach of the US Army, ensuring that the attack power of the Apache can actually get to the fight.
Enjoyed the episode? Like and subscribe to Military Forces. For more in-depth content, your support helps us create more.